I'm Joel,
And I'm Andrene.
and you are listening to Rewind Rewatch, a 90s movies podcast. Welcome back, Rewinders, to another episode of Rewind Rewatch, a podcast where my sister and I discuss 90s movies. In this and every other episode, we will talk about what we noticed from the film, what may not have aged very well. We try to identify the theme of the movie, and at the end of the episode, we will give the film a rewind rating from 1 to 5 based on how likely we are to rewatch this movie again in the future. And for today's episode, we will be discussing Hook from 1991. All of our movies are requested by you, the lovely listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a very long master list that we select from. So, who requested this movie for this week?
This was requested by multiple listeners this week.
Okay.
First up, we have Megan out of DC.
Shout out to Megan.
We have Rubik's Cube, out of Texas.
The legend. Shout out to Rubik's Cube.
The original Lucky Duck, Jeremy, out of Georgia.
Shout out to Jeremy.
And Jalissa out of Philly, PA.
Shout out to Jalissa.
This is a PG movie with a 2-hour and 22-minute runtime.
Nah, yeah. It's crazy. I watched this movie last night, and I knew going in it was long. I knew that I had a Saturday night to myself. So I was like, all right, this is when I'm going to do it. I'm going to run some errands in the daytime. I'm going to give myself a chance to watch this. And that's what happened. But I still feel like in the midst of me running errands and getting food and doing this, like I kept like pausing and then coming back. And then the 2.5 hours ended up being much longer than I anticipated. But then it's also like me trying to take notes, and then certain parts I'm rewinding to watch over. And so it was a much longer undertaking than I wanted it to be. And I would also note that despite the 2-hour and whatever runtime that you just said, like the last 10 minutes of the movie are just the end credits. So it's not actually that long, because the movie ended with still 8 minutes of runtime. I'm like, how long are these credits? I didn't
even realize
I didn't
that.
wait around to watch, but I could see the little, timer on the bottom of the screen. I'm like, okay. But anyway, starring Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman. Robin Williams plays Peter Banning. Banning?
B.
Oh,
As
Banning.
in boy.
Okay.
Banning.
B as in boy. Not anymore. And then Dustin Hoffman plays the titular Hook. So
Yes.
Robin Williams is like one of the. This is what, episode 114 or something like that? I don't even know what number we're up to. But
111 maybe.
111. Probably we've seen him more than anyone else on this podcast so far. So what are all the movies of his that we've previously covered?
So we've covered Jumanji, Aladdin, Mrs. Doubtfire, Fern Gully, and The Birdcage.
Okay, so this is number 6.
Yeah, he's the number one actor or actress
Right.
we've covered on the pod.
Now I'm trying to think if we've watched any Dustin Hoffman films.
We have not.
So this is the first one.
First one.
When you think of Dustin Hoffman, what comes to mind?
Well, only because I just recently rewatched this I watched The Graduate, maybe
That's probably his most famous movie. So
2 months ago, and I was
answer.
like, this movie is so good. I watched it years ago and completely forgot about it, and I rewatched it, and I was like, this movie is so good. So much happens, and then by the end, you're just like, wait, what? What was the point of all that? Why did y'all do this?
Yeah. That's all I really remember.
It's so good.
The
It's
end.
so
because
good.
the end is iconic.
Yeah.
Of them sitting on that bus. There's also a few side characters in this film, including Julia Roberts playing Tinkerbell,
Mm-hmm.
and the OG Maggie Smith
Mm-hmm.
playing grown-up old Wendy, who we've seen previously in both Sister Act and as the rich socialite in First Wives Club.
That's right.
Um, and then rest in peace to my guy Bob Hoskins, who is made the most famous from, or I know him most from Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Hmm.
and he plays Mr. Shmee in this film. I guess before we start going over Hook, um, how well do you remember Peter Pan the cartoon movie?
Well enough. Although I will say that when I think about Peter Pan, the cartoon, I think about that racist song that they sing.
Oh yes, of
That's
course.
the first thing I think about is them like sitting around in a circle
Smoking a peace
around a
pipe.
bonfire and them like, wearing these chief headdresses
Mm-hmm.
and singing this song about Native Americans that going back now it does not age pretty well. I'm pretty sure that now
Classic Disney, baby.
I'm pretty sure that now if you throw on that movie on Disney Plus, there's probably some kind of like opening
Disclaimer. Oh,
disclaimer
100%.
that says like, kind of like remarks that are insensitive for the time and all that and the other. That's what I think about. And I remember Tinkerbell being very jealous of Wendy and how she had the affection of Peter Pan in the
Mm-hmm.
cartoon. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
think about. And then like the Hook and Smee having that like crocodile with the clock and
Mm-hmm.
like the tick 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 of his eyes going up and down. I remember that. You know, it was fun watching it as a kid, from what I can recall, but it wasn't a favorite Disney film of mine.
Okay. So I would say a lot of those things that you mentioned, from Tinkerbell's jealousy to the crocodile on the clock, are all referenced throughout the movie Hook. So those probably wouldn't make as much sense if you hadn't seen the original. But it's not like the hardest swing to take because
Hmm.
most people have seen Peter Pan. So with that said, how would you summarize the movie Hook in one sentence?
An adult man returns to Neverland to rescue his kidnapped children and learns that he is Peter Pan.
Yeah. Um, so I guess that's a good place for us to start. Is this whole dichotomy of like the real world versus Neverland.
Hmm.
And Tinkerbell says something towards the end of the film where she says like, you know, that space when you're half awake and you kind of feel like you're dreaming but you're not fully asleep. That's where I'll be waiting. Which to me was like, is that what Neverland is supposed to represent? Like, does Neverland represent like this dream state? But in any event, we're led to understand over the course of this movie that when you leave Neverland for too long, you kind of forget about it.
Hmm.
And when you're in Neverland for too long, you kind of forget about the real world.
Hmm.
Um, and I was trying to understand exactly how this happened to Peter. And I think they tried to explain it throughout the course of this very long film. But at the beginning, we see that he is at his daughter's play. He's a grown man, played by Robin Williams. And his daughter's play is Peter Pan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is your understanding of what's happening here? Because it's almost like he's Peter Pan, but he doesn't know it,
Hmm.
and it's like this other world that's not a part of the world that he's in. But then this story still exists in this world.
Well, the reason why the story exists in this world is we have to talk a little bit about the Granny Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
Granny Wendy is this elderly woman played by Maggie Smith, and she apparently, when she was a child, she created this story of Peter Pan and Captain Hook and Neverland. And one of her neighbors took the story that she created and created a book out of it. And apparently, it's made a crap ton of money because her house is gorgeous in London. And the story or the book has become so well known that it's kind of like in this lore, this is how we as the audience have come to know the Peter Pan stories because Granny Wendy had made it up. And so that kind of explains why we're able to see the play with Peter's daughter being in it, because in this world, it's a story that had been made up by his grandmother. Now, as the movie progresses, we come to realize that Granny Wendy is actually Wendy from the Peter Pan story.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells Peter, like, what's the earliest memory you have of your childhood? And he says, I remember, being in a hospital, and apparently Wendy had saved him. He was an orphan. She runs this very successful orphanage for young orphan children. She rescued him. She was able to teach him how to read, and she places him with an adoptive family. And she was like, well, before being in the hospital and meeting me, do you remember anything before then? And for a while, he's like, no, like, I really don't remember much of anything. And according to Granny Wendy, the story is that when Peter was younger, I believe Tinkerbell finds him because he wants to run away from his mother because he hears the mother talking about his plans for going to college and going to school, which really didn't make a lot of sense to me because I'm like, he was a baby in a pram and he heard the mother talking to her friend about plans for his schooling.
Nah, that whole scene was very sloppily
I was like,
done.
what?
It wasn't done well, like, at all, because then it's also like, oh, when he grows up, he's gonna do this. Like, his mother's like planning out his whole life to her friend while she's sitting in the park, and then the stroller just like rolls away,
The wind blows it.
and then he's like, yeah, and then but he's narrating this story, and he's like, yeah, I ran away. It's like, you didn't run anywhere.
Yeah.
You were literally a baby, like. Anyway.
And also, your mom was very neglectful because
like,
why
there's
was the
no way you
pram?
could have understood anything she was saying.
The pram
either.
was so far away from where she was sitting.
She didn't even see it. She didn't even see it leave.
At all.
Yeah.
So anyway, he ends up falling out of the pram. The poor baby's crying in the rain, and Tinkerbell finds him, rescues him, brings him to Neverland. He grows up at least till age 12 or 13 there, and apparently while he's
But
there,
that's also like a plot hole because you're not supposed to age in Neverland. So
that's true.
he
He
should've
should
just
have been a
stayed a
baby.
Yeah.
He should have been a baby.
Anyway.
So he's 12 or 13 in Neverland, and then eventually he ends up, I guess, going back to the real world because he had met Wendy there, and I guess he followed Wendy back home. And they said that every spring he would go back to Wendy's house and like they would catch up and they would talk. And Wendy was the girl who was the object of his affection. And as Granny Wendy is telling him the story, she's like, yeah, every year you would come and visit me. And she's like, at some point, I thought you were going to come to my wedding day and you were going to like stop the wedding. And it almost looked like she was going to try to kiss him. And I was like, what is happening? I was very confused because I was like, this is supposed to be like his mother figure / grandmother. And she's like almost coming on to him. It was
Not to mention, he marries her granddaughter and has 3 kids with her. So it's like,
it was very,
you're family now, bro. It's way too late. Like, you missed the boat on the Peter train.
also you're like 80. So
Right. Well,
the whole thing was just very like, I didn't like that. But anyway, she's like, yeah, you don't remember. And he's like, are you crazy? Because this doesn't make any sense, actually. But we find out, like Joel said, he ends up seeing, one year he goes back to see Wendy, and Wendy is now an older woman, and her granddaughter is sleeping in that same room that he always comes to visit her in. And played by Gwyneth Paltrow, by the way.
that's right.
And he falls for her immediately. And speaking of not aging well, he goes over to her and just kisses her immediately while she's asleep,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess that was him being fond of her. I don't know. And he says, oh,
But
yeah.
it's also like, she doesn't know who you are and you just snuck in her window.
hmm
That's probably not the time to just like start kissing a girl.
She's so beautiful, though.
Yeah.
What do you want her?
She's perfect.
What do you want him to do? He kisses her, and basically at that point, he decides he's going to turn his back on Neverland. He's going to stay here so that he can be with this beautiful woman he's never met before
Not a
or
woman.
spoken
She's
to.
like a 13-year-old girl.
Well, it's his age.
Right.
Never spoken to before, but in his mind, I'm going to marry her. And he does.
Yeah, nah, he does.
He stays and marries her. So, as Joel said, the longer you're out of Neverland, you seem to forget. And so now that he's in the real world and he marries her and they have children, and now he's a successful attorney running, doing this firm, and he completely forgot Neverland is even this thing. And so it's weird because like we're in the real world, but also like Neverland is like still in the back story of this movie, at least at the beginning. Um and I kind of like the way that they merge the two worlds when you have Hook basically coming to kidnap the kids in the middle of the night,
Mm-hmm.
and you're seeing this sword that is piercing this note and pinning it to their door, and it basically just says like, your children need you, like come
I got your kids. You
like
gotta
come get them.
come get them.
Signed by Captain Hook. And the cops come and investigate, and they're like, "Oh, this has got to be a prank," because of course you would think so because of the family's history with the story. But also, I'm like, who found this scroll-like paper? Because the paper wasn't like regular, printer paper we have today. It was like a scroll, and also there's a sword. But okay, so now he's like, "My kids have been kidnapped. What am I going to do?" Blah blah blah. And this is when Tinkerbell makes her appearance, played by Julia Roberts. What
Mm-hmm.
what were your thoughts on the whole Tinkerbell character?
I mean, I was just shocked that they convinced her to do this. I was just like, because I didn't even know like she's in the movie, and then I'm like, oh, Tinkerbell shows up, and I'm like, wait a second, this is Julia Roberts. Like, this is ridiculous. And I think that was just that kept running through my head every scene that she was in. I'm just like, how did they get her in this movie? Like, how?
These are big names. Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams?
And Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, so?
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like a bit part for someone so big. And she's like playing like this like very girly ditzy fairy, which is not how I view most Julia Roberts characters. Like she's usually like some like intelligent badass. She's like
Like
an Erin
Erin Brockovich.
Brockovich or even Pretty Woman
yeah.
or Julia Roberts is not typically who I think of. And speaking of which, we did cover Pretty Woman on the pod, and we also covered My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yeah.
So I think those are the two Julia Roberts we've
Mhm.
seen before. Nothing like Tinkerbell.
No,
And
not at all.
not even who I would have thought to cast in this role. Not that she does a bad job with it, because she's obviously a very talented actor. But I was just like, I can't believe she said yes to this. So, but yeah, shout out to Julia Roberts.
Yeah, she flies in.
Yeah.
Surprises Peter. And he's looking like, I must have hit my head. I must be hallucinating because I'm seeing a fairy. Like, this is not real life. And she's like, come on, Peter, we gotta go get your kids. And he's like, what are you even talking about? And I feel like doesn't she knock him out to get him out? Because he's not about to go with her. He thinks that she's like he's seeing things or whatever. And at some point he like hits his head or something and he falls down. And then she ends up like wrapping him up in
Mhm.
sheets and whatnot, and then sprinkling her fairy dust. And her
Which
fairy dust will
allows
allow
them to
anyone
fly.
to fly. And she's able to take him up and out and into Neverland. Now,
But when they go to Neverland, though, well, finish what you were gonna say.
I was gonna ask you,
Okay.
if you're Peter Banning and you wake up in obviously a different world, like what would your initial reaction or thought be?
I need to like figure out what's going on. Like, I need to like, do I know anybody here? Who can I talk to? How do I get back to my? And most importantly, like, if this is gonna lead to me being able to find my kids, because
Mhm.
that's the initial dilemma that got us here in the first place. So it's like, all right, is this where my kids are? Like, what's going on? The only thing I know is this fairy that showed up in my house, or my my granny's house. So then it's like, but this is the whole thing, because when he wakes up, I'm thinking, oh, she took him to like the Lost Boys and whatever. But then when he wakes up, he's like in the middle of like where all the pirates hang out. So I'm like, you couldn't have dropped him off anywhere else. Like, this, you
Yeah.
dropped him off right in the middle of danger. Like, this is like literally like, this is the pirate's hood. Like, this
Yeah.
is like, they got the bar right here, they got the brothel over here, which I don't know that they needed to include in this PG
I have
film.
thoughts about the brothel.
There's pirate ships. Like, it's like right in the middle of their hood. She just like drops him in enemy territory. It's like, he'll figure it out when he wakes up. It's like, nah, dog. He doesn't even remember being Peter Pan. Like, this is not what you should have done. He could have got himself murked.
To be fair, she gives him like garb to wear. She gives him a hat. She wraps him up in this thing.
Yes, she
and then
gives
she
him
tells
a
him how
very
to
weak disguise.
How to walk. It was a good disguise if he would just follow through. She's like, walk with the limp, say arg, whatever. And he's doing that. And he quickly realizes that he is near Hook because we see like a fresh Hook being prepared and everyone is like lit. Like, Hook, getting ready to give him a new Hook.
Yeah, it's like Hook cronies. Like everybody's like, this is our guy, this is our champion.
He's the head honcho.
He is the head honcho.
And so he follows them to where Hook is at and he sees him. Everybody is like up this man's butt. And he realizes quickly that that is where his children are because Hook has his kids basically tied up in a bunch of ropes and like hanging off of one part of his ship. And this is where I kind of got upset with Peter because, okay, you see where the kids are. You see you're surrounded by pirates, as you said. And he immediately just drops his disguise and runs out like, those are my kids. I'm like, what are you doing? Do some recon. See what's going on and then get with Tinkerbell and figure out what to do.
You didn't even talk about the part with the baseball game. That was another part.
On,
That's another part. It's like, bro, you couldn't keep this disguise for 2 minutes? You couldn't just...
He never can.
He couldn't just grab the hook and be out? It's like, nah, he made it mad hot.
He
drew mad attention to himself. It's like, bro, this is terrible.
And then he's like, yeah, I'm attorney at law. That means nothing here.
No, there's no attorneys. There's pirates. That's it. There's no cops. There's no lawyers.
No.
There's no law. It's a lawless place.
And then he's trying to write them a check to get his kids back. What are they going to do with a check on a pirate boat?
I don't know what they're going to do with that check. There's no banks.
It made no sense.
Nah, he was not.
Like, for a lawyer, you should be a little bit more smart than that.
Nah, man, listen.
A little bit more savvy.
He was too in the real world. He had to drop the real world and he had to get with the Neverland program.
I just feel like I would have gotten Tinkerbell to the side and been like, okay, I know where Hook is at. I know where my kids are at. What are the next steps? Right?
Nah, he was just mad boisterous. He didn't have any planfulness about him. Well, the other thing I think is important to give to the context here is there's 2 kids that get kidnapped. He has 2 kids, not 3. And I don't even remember their names.
Jack and Maggie.
Great. So Jack is probably like 10. And then Maggie's a little younger. Maybe she's like 6.
Mm-hmm.
And it so happens that at the beginning of the film, we see Peter and his wife at Maggie's school play where she's playing Wendy in this Peter play. And he's spending the entire time on his cell phone. But
so rude.
Nevertheless, he is there. But then he goes home after the play, completely ignoring his kids as they're preparing to fly to England. And he's just like on the phone trying to land this deal. And he makes plans to attend a meeting the next day before they go to England for some big merger or whatever. And it's at the same time as his son's baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
And his son's like, yo, my game, da-da-da. Long story short, he blows off the game to go to this meeting instead. So now they have beef because his son is like, yo, you are blowing me off. You go to, my sister's play, but you don't come to see me watch baseball. You always have an excuse. And so we've set up a couple things. Number one, the fact that he is so preoccupied with work that he is neglecting his kids. But 2, that his son is very upset with him. When they're on the plane to England, his son draws a picture of the family where the plane crashes and everyone jumps out of the plane with parachutes except for his dad, who just is falling without a parachute on.
Well, what's diabolical about that is Jack knows his dad has a fear of flying. So it's even funnier because, the plane is having crazy turbulence.
Yeah.
It's shaking like crazy. And then it's like, what's that? It's like, it's a picture of us. What's that? That's our plane about to crash, Maggie says. It's like, that's me, that's Jack, that's Mom, and that's you, Daddy. And then the bottom in the water is a bunch of shark fins.
Yeah, it's like I want to get dad out of here because he doesn't come and support me. So I'm over him.
But can I interject here for a second about this?
Sure.
Because you mentioned that the reason why he missed the game was because he has to do this big, business meeting or whatever, which is partially true. But if you remember, after the meeting was over, he sends one of his assistants or associates to go ahead of him to the game
That's
to
right.
record Jack. The meeting was over. He could have been like, "Oh, I gotta dash my son's game." No, he sent somebody ahead of him, and instead he decides that he wants to play like Wild Wild West, like drawing like a dueling, draw your weapon.
I challenge you to a cell phone duel.
Yeah, he's like, all right, ready, 1, 2, 3. So it's like, come on, you could have left much earlier than you did.
That's true.
You're clowning around. So that's why I kind of was like, all right.
He's yucking it up.
You're not.
And
you're
then
not
by
serious.
the time he's like, all right, y'all, I really got to go. And then he goes to the baseball field. He is so significantly late for the game that no one is there. Like, the players are gone. The families are gone. The vendors are gone. There is no one. The umpires, everyone has left.
The cleaners are gone. There's nobody there.
It is a completely empty baseball field by the time he shows up. So it's like, bro, how late did you show up?
That's what I'm saying.
Because I know a baseball game is longer than an hour.
Exactly.
So you are significantly late. And it's funny because, we talk about some of the previous films that we've seen him in, and I'm like, this is reminding me of Mrs. Doubtfire, because it's like Robin Williams, again, is playing a neglectful parent that only seems to appreciate his kids after he's lost them. And this is obviously significantly worse because his kids are kidnapped, but actually, I'll take that back slightly, in the fact that in Mrs. Doubtfire, he isn't neglectful to his kids. He's neglectful to his marriage.
That's true.
He pays attention to his
the
kids,
love
but he has
him. Yeah.
animals running around the house.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, he's so preoccupied with work, and, this is a common trope in kids' films specifically, is like, dad's always so busy. He's always working on the time, and he's always on that gosh darn cell phone.
The cell phone.
And he never could pay me any attention. And we saw this in Liar Liar, for example.
Yep.
And I think Angels in the Outfield, which I don't remember that well, but I feel like there was something with that one in that
was
movie
Patreon,
too.
Yeah.
We didn't watch Angels in the Outfield.
We watched Field of Dreams. Oh,
yes, much different.
I knew it was some baseball movie.
But yeah, so it's like, when dad is too busy, it's him or the mom either. It's always the dad. Three Ninjas was another one.
Oh, yeah.
Dad's so busy, he's not paying attention to his kids. And then it's always like, the kids are in danger, something happens, the kids get taken away.
Dad has to go
and then dad realizes, like, there's more to life than work.
Yeah.
But it took his kids getting kidnapped by Captain Hook.
Wait, so talking about his job, you mentioned Liar Liar, but another movie that we mentioned earlier that kind of reminded me of this was Pretty Woman, because in that film, you had Richard Gere's character who was working in like mergers and acquisitions and basically was crushing companies that are about to go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what he does here.
Yep.
Because his Granny Wendy basically says, "Oh, you became a pirate." And I was like, "Oh, he actually did."
Message.
That's what he is now. He's basically one of the bad guys for work. So I think that was also a part of it too. It wasn't like, "Oh, dad's this great, attorney doing work for indigent clients." It's like, no, dad's out here crushing the souls of people who are trying to make a living and instead neglecting his family.
Mergers and acquisitions, baby. You already know what time it is.
Talking about the phone, though, because like you said before, talking during the daughter's play was crazy. But then when they arrive in London to see Granny Wendy, finds out that this deal, this like $5 billion deal, is not going to go through. And he's pissed off because he's like, I should have stayed. I shouldn't have come. And he's on the phone trying to talk to them. But of course, the kids are wired. They're in England. They're excited. They're like making kid noises and running around. And he's on the phone and he's trying to talk. And at one point, he says something on the lines of like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, I wish somebody would just kill me." And then Jack goes, "Bang, bang, bang. Bro, I was laughing so hard. I stopped it and rewound it and played it back, and I still laughed. I was like, bro, this was hilarious. But it was not funny to Peter because he blacks. He turns around, starts yelling, tells him basically to get out of here.
You a $5 billion deal falling apart because of this? Why didn't somebody just shoot me in the head?
Bang! Bang!
Will everybody just shut up?
I'm sorry.
And leave me alone for one moment more. Get him out of here, will you? I'm on the phone call of my life.
And poor, Granny Wendy has to come in and usher the kids out of the room. And this is where his wife, Moira? I can't say that. I can't, whatever her name is. The M word.
Yeah.
The wife basically is like, yeah, you're doing the most. And also, like, at this age, your kids want to spend time with you. There's not a lot of time left before the kids are going to get too old for this and not want you around at all. And you're missing it.
Yep.
And then as she's talking to him, his cell phone rings. And she looks at him and she's like, don't answer that call. He looks at her, pulls the antenna up, and opens the phone and says hello. And at that moment,
he's prioritized what he's prioritized. Work is more important than this stupid family.
Or this conversation.
Yeah.
She grabs the phone and she tosses it out the window.
Well,
how did you react to that?
I mean, like I said, this is the picture that gets painted. It's always like dad's too busy for this. He's so busy he won't even have a conversation with his wife. It's like he has to pick up the cell phone. So then of course she's gonna throw it out the window because she's like, this is disrespectful. So
you're fine with it?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Nah, like it's like, yeah, you're blacking. It's like to throw someone's phone out the window.
It's wild.
Like, it's a crazy thing to do, but it's also like you're being a jerk. So you kind of had it coming.
Fair enough.
And granted, it's 1991, so that cell phone's not breaking. That thing.
Oh no.
That thing is a solid brick.
Because the dog ends up burying it under snow. And the guy is still talking on the phone later on when Peter gets the phone back.
Yeah, it rings and he's like, "Wait, that's my phone." Like, and then he just digs it back out. It's like, oh, it's still fine.
Yeah.
So yeah,
no harm, no foul.
Now I really want to talk about Captain Hook.
Yes.
And I thought it was super appropriate for them to name this film after him because
do tell.
I just thought that Dustin Hoffman absolutely carried this movie. Like he was fantastic. I always kind of like Captain Hook. When we talk about Disney villains, I feel like I often forget about him.
Same.
And I often forget about this, like Peter Pan in general. Like it's like a movie that everyone's seen, but you kind of never think about it. But like, Captain Hook was like, he was kind of a likable bad guy. Like, granted, he was trying to get to Peter Pan, but it's also like Peter Pan is magic. And pirates are bad guys or whatever. But he has a very clear phobia of this crocodile that keeps trying to eat him. And Peter Pan is like actively screwing with him all the time. And messing with him, flying around where he can't catch him. And so he's like, yo, like, it's very Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner.
Mm-hmm.
And Wile E. is another guy that I understood. I understood his plight.
Yeah, I was absolutely not.
I was like,
Roadrunner fan.
Like I get it, Wile E. Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm doing everything in my powers.
And Wile E. just wants to eat. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
he's hungry.
Yeah, that's true. So not necessarily the same thing here, but it's also like, yo, this is my. I run this world. Like Neverland is Captain Hook territory, and Peter Pan is the one entity that I can never beat. And when we meet him in this film, I thought what was interesting is because Peter left and decided to grow up, we find out that the crocodile from the cartoon has been killed.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the trauma of trying to escape from this crocodile that ate an alarm clock, the sound of a ticking clock still gives him the willies. And so he has like this collection of clocks that he's stolen and broken. But we find a very depressed Captain Hook.
Yeah.
And Captain Hook is in a space where he's like, yo, I had to go to the real world and kidnap his kids just to bring him back here so that he can fight me because I feel like I have no ops. Like, I feel like my life doesn't really have any meaning. And it's kind of like, yeah, like I won. I have everything. I have all these people that will sing my name. And like, nobody can really mess with me here. But it's like, what's the value of this without any sort of opposition?
That reminds me of the Joker needing Batman.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that from the
Dark-
cartoon Batman.
Was that Dark Knight too?
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of narratives like that. It even comes up in the Harley Quinn
That
series.
show was hilarious.
But yeah, it's like, yo, like if Batman's not trying to catch me and put me in prison or put me in Arkham,
Yeah, why am I doing any of this?
then it's like this actually isn't as fun. You know, it's like I am a big sports fan. And I hate dynasties. Like I'm always like I don't find it fun when a team wins all the time. Like I'm like that's actually takes the joy out of competition. Whether my favorite team is involved or not, like, you know, I think that's what people enjoy about like small schools in the tournament beating schools like Duke in Arizona. It's like, oh, like this is not what we expected. It's out of the ordinary, and it's not just the big guy crushing the little guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so when you get to see, or even when it's like two big teams playing each other, that's fun as well because it's like, what's gonna
Good
happen?
competition.
But yeah, you like the competition. I think that's what makes sports interesting, and I think that's what people like the Joker, who's obviously a lunatic, but also Captain Hook is like, you know, this is actually not that fun. And when he sees Peter and he realizes that Peter no longer has magic, he can no longer fly, he doesn't even remember being Peter Pan, he doesn't remember any of the battles that he had with Captain Hook.
Yeah.
And he's like disappointed. He's like,
Very much so.
what is actually the purpose of this? And he has like an existential crisis about it. And there's this very disturbing scene
Yeah.
where we see that he threatens to shoot himself in the head all the time, apparently,
This is a PG film.
and waits for a Smee to come and stop him.
like the gun is literally to his head.
Yeah.
And the bullet goes off as he pulls his arm away from his head. I was like, why?
And I'm like, this
Why?
seems pretty heavy for a kids movie, with Robin Williams flying around like Peter Pan. Like, I don't know, man. This is a lot. But what he says is that his life is kind of meaningless, and he says that without a worthy opponent, that death is the only great adventure. And I think, well, actually, he says death is the only great adventure separate from this. But I think for him, it's kind of like you live or you die.
Mm.
And when you're engaged in a sword fight, for example, it's like either I'm going to beat this guy and kill him, or he's going to beat me and I'm going to die. But that's the ultimate final battle. And when my life is never threatened and I don't have anyone that's trying to catch me, or I have nobody that's trying to fight me or walk me down the plank, then
Yeah.
actually, like, this is just quite boring.
That's very true.
I want to die.
Oh, no.
There's no adventure here.
You call this no adventure?
Death is the only great adventure I have left me.
Come on, let's get you into bed.
So he doesn't feel like his life has any adventure. And Pan's been gone for presumably like 30 years now.
Yikes. Not to mention, he needs to seek revenge for his hand.
Yes, that's right.
Because Peter did chop his hand off, which is why he uses a hook.
Yeah. So the other big player in Neverland, or players, I should say, are these Lost Boys. And when we meet Peter Pan in the cartoon version, this is like his clique. Like, this is like, he's like the leader of the Lost Boys in the same way that Hook is the leader of the pirates. So when he shows up in this movie, it's a little bit different now because he's been gone for some time.
He's been gone. You will be replaced.
and replaced he was. So
Rufio.
Rufio. Well, before we get to Rufio, something that I kept thinking about was, I don't know if they explain this in this movie or in the first Peter Pan movie. I feel like they might. But I don't remember off the top of my head. But like the Lost Boys. And I'm assuming they're called the Lost Boys because like somehow they ended up in Neverland as children and just never made it back.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like pretty dark. And also I guess okay, because as long as they stay in Neverland, they actually just forget the real world. So like maybe they don't actually remember that they got like misplaced from their families.
So I had a thought about this.
Okay.
So we know that according to, at least from Hook, that Peter ends up there because Tinkerbell found that he was alone and brought him there. Did Tinkerbell bring all these other boys over
So
there?
she's just kidnapping boys.
Or
And there's no girls.
Or maybe
It's their only lost boys. There's no lost girls.
Well, we know Tinkerbell's maybe she's a little fast in the Tinkerbell trying to find a mate.
Yeah, maybe, but she's also a fairy.
Fairies still have feelings.
Yes, that's true.
Because I'm thinking like maybe they're all orphan boys, or maybe they were kidnapped and she rescued them from their captors and brought them there. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like Tinkerbell is spending a lot of time in real world.
Oh yeah.
Like she's there all the time. More so than anyone else who just stays in Neverland. But she goes back and forth. She takes like these international trips. Interdimensional trips.
She could fly. It's easy for her. Think about it. Peter was going back once a year to see Wendy.
That's true.
So yeah, I'm thinking maybe she rescues the boys that, need rescuing, and she brings them back because they can't fly. How else are they getting there?
That's also like best case scenario. Worst case scenario is she's just kidnapping boys.
Well, she's supposed to be a good character, so I don't think that would be very dark. To
It would be. It would be.
Tinkerbell just kidnapping
listen,
boys.
this is a dark film, guys.
Because one of the Lost Boys
We've got
does,
suicide, we've got depression, we've got a lot of dark stuff in
one
this
of the
film.
boys mentions that
People getting killed.
like he can't remember his mother, or he misses his mother, or something, or he misses like not remembering what his mom looks like, or something like that. So it's like he had a mother. It wasn't like he was in an orphanage.
They were all born. Like they were all.
No, what I'm saying is like, but Peter was in an orphanage. Like Peter,
Right.
But one of the boys at least remembers having a mom. So I'm like, well, how did he end up here? What exactly happens?
Tinkerbell was like, oh, she thinks she cute with her son. I'm gonna show her.
And there's also another character that we meet who's living with Granny Wendy, who used to be a lost boy and ends up in the real world and can't remember how to get back. And so it's like, how did he end up in the real world? We don't know. So I think Tinkerbell got some explaining to do.
She has a lot of explaining to do. So, all right. So Rufio.
Yes.
Who is Rufio?
Rufio is played by Dante Bosco, who we actually covered one of the films that he was in. He has done a lot of voice acting. He played multiple voices in a Goofy movie. He also...
A Goofy movie's a banger.
Yeah, he also has played voices in American Dragon, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Star Wars Galaxy Adventures, and he also has been, like, as a real boy, acting in a few episodes of Moesha, Hang with Mr. Cooper, and Fresh Prince.
Okay.
So he's been out here. And Rufio has taken the place of Peter Pan. But, of course, he does not have the power as Peter Pan does, but he has a way of moving throughout the world, like crazy skateboard-esque type moves. He's swinging from different vines. And, he has these lost boys just, like, cheering for him. Like, he's lit. He seems to be, like, the oldest boy.
Nah, yeah. He definitely looks like he's, like, a teenager, and everybody else is, like, not a teenager.
Yeah, so, again, Tinkerbell, answer up.
Tinkerbell's the real villain in this film.
So he's there, and he's leading the boys, and they kind of just play pretend all day because they're not fighting Hook. Like, he doesn't have like the same chops that Peter does, but they do well enough so that the boys aren't really bothered by the pirates. So they must have a way of defending themselves. Maybe they're setting booby traps because later on in the film we're able to see them fighting with the pirates, and they use things like gumdrops and goo of different colors.
Another film where candy causes people to trip and fall.
Oh yeah.
Opposed to just crushing the gum under your pirate
But
boots.
the balls, might whoa.
Right,
You
yeah,
might roll a little
yeah.
bit.
If I'm wearing pirate boots, I assure you, I would crush any gumball you threw at me.
But they're drinking ale all day, so maybe
It's the ale.
Yeah,
the
maybe.
ale's to blame.
maybe they might fall over. So yeah, they had their own little gang of boys.
Well, you can't
and-
forget his biggest asset is his hair.
Oh, fantastic.
the Rufio.
It's fantastic.
The Rufio spikes.
Yeah, it's great.
That's really, I think, what gets all the boys to really root for him.
Brings all the
and get
boys to the
behind.
yard.
Yeah.
It's Rufio's hair.
His hair spikes bring all the boys to the
So
yard.
one thing I want to point out about the Lost Boys is they have this war cry that they do. And they yell it at different times. Like sometimes it's like, oh, if somebody gets like a nice diss off, they'll yell it. Sometimes if they're just like excited, they'll yell it. And they be like, bangarang, bangarang, bangarang is their thing.
It's like hell yeah.
Yeah. But what a few of you I'm sure don't know is bangarang is actually a Jamaican patois word. And the word means like disruption or commotion or like general rowdiness is what it is.
General Rowdy.
That's basically what it is.
Bangarang.
Yeah. And so there's actually a song with the title Bangarang that was created by Lester Sterling and Stranger Cole. It is known to be one of the first reggae songs ever created, made in 1968. And the song features a lot of music, and only one line is sung throughout the song.
Rufio.
Before its time, wow. No, the line is Mama Nawa Bangarang. That's the line. Now, Mama in Patois means like mom, mother. Nawa means doesn't want. And then Bangarang is commotion. So basically it's saying that it's telling kids to sit their bad asses
Stop
down.
making noise. My mother is tired of all this noise and commotion.
So maybe Joel might play like a little clip of the song so y'all can hear it. But I thought it was very interesting because I'm watching this movie and it's like, wait, Bangarang, like what? And of course, this has nothing to do with Jamaica in any way, but it was just interesting that they took this word. And I'm guessing maybe at some point, I don't know if someone heard the word or just thought the sounds would sound good together, but it is actually a Jamaican term. So I thought that was interesting.
So Rufio and Peter have this kind of tete-a-tete, so to speak. And when he first shows up, they're trying to figure out who this guy is. Tinkerbell brought him. But then when Rufio comes, he's like, yo, like, this is my turf. Like, who are you? Like, step off. And he's like, nah, like, I'm cool. I'm innocent. And he's like, no, you're not. Like, you're an adult, and all adults are pirates. Like, the only adults in Neverland are pirates. And we kill pirates. So I'm like, oh, so you're a real gangster now. But when we see their spot, it's like, yo, these kids, like, they're having so much fun. They have like a basketball hoop, and they have like skate ramps, and they have like these cool like little train passageways, like a blown up version of Mr. Rogers' trolley, and they're shooting plunger arrows. And so I'm like, oh, so like all of this is fun, but also like they murder pirates? Like what's like wait. Can we go back to that part?
Yeah.
Can you explain what's happening here?
It's probably in self-defense. They're
maybe.
young boys by themselves, so they probably have to learn how to murder.
Well, he didn't learn well enough because
spoiler alert.
Yeah, it does not work out for him. And at the end, when they have their big battle, which I was completely shocked by this, man, because I'll preface this by saying, like, I really don't remember watching this movie.
Shocking.
And if I had seen it, I probably only saw pieces of it. I certainly didn't watch the whole 2.5 hours. So I'm like, oh, like, all right, now they join forces. Peter got his powers back. They about to fight Hook and the pirates. Cool. They're not about to kill these kids.
Man.
And Rufio tries to boss up and fight Hook by himself. And sure enough, he is stabbed in his chest
So sad.
and dies. And I was like, oh my God.
So sad.
So I'm like, maybe he actually never killed a pirate. I'm not sure that he ever actually fought a pirate
I
before.
think he was posturing.
And he was flexing for, like you said, their entire days and nights seem to revolve around them basically just playing make-believe.
Yeah.
And so it's possible that they never actually killed anyone. Never mind,
They just imagine
they
it.
never actually fought any real grown adults. Cause he didn't have it, bro. Like, and Hook is nice. Like, Hook been one-handed for a minute, so he knows how to do it. Like, on guard, bro. Like, he's like, you see a man with a mustache like that, he better know how to sword fight.
He had a nice stash.
So he's like, nah, like, I'm out here, yo, this dude's trying to kill me. Get out of here. Stabs him. Dies in Peter's arms. I'm like, yo, they really kill Rufio. Like, what's happening?
That was really
Like, what's
sad.
going on in this film? This is crazy, bro.
But talking about the make-believe, I think what made me even sadder watching it now as an adult is these boys have no food.
So I wanted to talk about that part too. Because it seems like they're getting ready to eat this big feast. But when they open the pots and pans, everything is empty and they're basically just like scooping food into their plates, eating food, but it's all make-believe. And Peter's blown at first because he's like, yo, I'm actually mad hungry and there's no food here. And later on, when he buys into it essentially and decides to use his own imagination, the food actually does appear. So the question for me that I was not sure about is like, is this to say that the imagination allows them to actually eat food? Or are we to believe that they actually don't have any food until Peter shows up? Because these kids have been surviving for quite some time without him. So I'm like, they must be eating something.
I didn't think that the food actually showed up. I just thought it was just kind of like, oh, he's buying into this.
Oh, so it was actually just all in his head.
Yeah, because they even said like, yeah, you're doing make believe with us. They said it. So it's not even like, oh, the food's not here, because they were all chowing down long before Peter bought in.
But I guess my thing is that his ability to fly was also tied to a sense of belief, to what was going on inside of his head. They said you have to think happy thoughts. And so I'm thinking, because they are in Neverland, which is like this magical place, is there some sort of tie between the mental and the physical world? Like, what you imagine actually allows you to do things. He couldn't fly because he was like not buying into it. And then once he went down memory lane and the memories started to come back for him, and then all of a sudden he could fly again.
But I also feel like, why didn't Tinkerbell just go over there and sprinkle her dust on top of him? Because when he first gets there, Hook says to him, Peter, like, I know this is you. Just go up there and just, touch your kids. Because the kids were hanging like in a net over the water. Go up there and just touch your kids. And
he said, if you can touch them with your hand, I'll let them go.
And he tries to climb up to the top, mast of the ship, and he's trying to reach out, and he can't do it. He's afraid of heights and all this. And Tinkerbell's like, come on, just believe, think happy thoughts. And I'm like, girl, if you don't go over there and sprinkle that man with this dust.
Yo, hit me up with some
pissing
dust,
me
dog.
off. Tinkerbell's pissing me off.
Hit me up with a little bit of that dust. Stop playing around.
Just go over there and sprinkle him real fast. So, yeah, anyway, going back to your thought about him buying into it and being able to fly, do you remember how that even happened? He had a Rookie of the Year moment.
Rookie of the Year theory. It's coming up all the time and time again. We can't get enough of it.
We talked about it in The Long Kiss Goodnight, and we also talked about it in our most recent Patreon episode what women want.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is he gets hit in the head by the baseball that Jack hit the home run from his baseball game.
It was in the air for 2 hours,
It
apparently.
hit him in the head. He falls down, and when he wakes up, he looks in this river and he sees himself as the young Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
And now he can see his shadow. And now things are coming back.
It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now.
What an icon. What a queen. Love me some Celine Dion. I really do.
Shout out to her too.
Shout out. So after that happens, now he's buying into it. So it really comes back to being bonked in the head. And
It was the bonk. It wasn't the belief.
no, it was the bonk.
It wasn't the
It was the
belief.
bonk. It was the
wasn't
bonk.
the
The
belief, it
belief
was the
started
bonk.
it, but if there was no bonk, because think about it, it was after the baseball game. That's when he stormed off.
Yeah, you might be
He
onto
stormed
something.
off and was like, "Nah, I'm
But
done."
then that also means like this entire activity, because throughout the course of like they're putting him through training camp essentially, talking about how like, oh, you let yourself get old, you let yourself get fat, you need to get back in shape. They have him, basically like he's at basic training. They're having him they're singing this marching song, which was actually low-key a bop.
Ain't no time to celebrate. Ain't no time to celebrate. You are old and overweight. You are old and overweight. Gotta lose 1,000,000 pounds. Gotta lose 1,000,000 pounds. Get your fat butt off the ground.
And it's like, reach on down and touch your toes. How long since you looked at those? And all these other little rhymes. And so I'm like, and then they're trying to get him to fly with this like boomerang thing that they created, but he keeps flopping and falling down. So I'm like, yo, if all it was like you just have to remember and believe again, then actually shouldn't that have been what the training camp was? Shouldn't they have just been doing things to spur his memory back?
Just keep
Because
bonking him in the head.
He didn't need to like lose weight. And also, Hook was like, I'm gonna give you 3 days to remember and come back and get your kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, you have 3 days. How much weight do you think he's gonna lose?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Granted, this is Neverland, so they have no understanding of how time works.
But to be fair, if he's not eating for 3 days, he's gonna lose weight.
That's true.
He's gonna lose a ton of weight.
That's true. Oh man, what was up with like the make-believe pies? Like they didn't even look like real pie.
Yeah, that really disappointed me.
Like, this is Play-Doh.
It
Like I don't
disappointed
understand,
me because
bro.
I'm like, if I'm gonna imagine food, the chicken looked like it was raw. Number one, with the skin hanging off of it, I was like, ugh, ugh. I wouldn't touch that with a 10.5-foot pole.
Oh wow.
That was
the Grinch.
Yeah, that was gross. Then, like you said, a bunch of like Play-Doh, like weird pastry.
It was just
things.
like a bunch of.
I wanted to see
It just
real
looked like a bunch
food.
of like colored whipped cream
Yeah.
and Cool Whip. And like, bro, like,
Where's
what?
the real food? Where
Like,
were
he didn't want like a
burgers?
pecan pie or something, like
Yeah.
a
Ice
real
cream,
dessert.
pizza.
He wanted this. This grown man wanted this. This is what he pictured.
You know what it reminded me?
Pink and green
Yo,
whipped cream.
do you remember those like Trix Yoplait yogurts?
Yeah, that's what he was.
That's what it looks like.
It was Trix yogurt.
That's what he flopped on Rufio's
Yeah,
face.
that is what he But this is so crazy because he's because that scene was amazing because Rufio's frying him up, right? Like
Man.
he's just roasting him. And he's like, yo, you're this, you're that, you're mad fat, you're gross, you're mad old. Like he's just going in. He's like, you are not a well-behaved boy, and you need some training. And he's like,
Where's your mother?
And they're like, oh, your jokes stink.
Yeah.
So it's basically like, yo, if you want to get your powers back, and you want to, it's almost like he got turned back into his old self by like winning a roasting session
Yeah.
against a 14-year-old. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's like he's sitting here with all these kids. This grown man is sitting here with all these kids, and they're just making fun of him. And he actually, which kind of makes sense, right? Because the whole concept of this is that he has to like put his adulthood aside and allow himself to like be a kid again. And when you talk about the scene where he looks in the water, and it's almost like him allowing himself to remember his inner child, right? Which is all this like big metaphor. This comes up in all the kids' movies, right? It's just like don't grow up too fast. And so basically him making fun of Rufio and winning this roasting session is basically what allows him to get his
Yeah.
imagination. And that kind of is the beginning
Right.
of the residual effect of like him being able to see himself in the river, him being able to see his shadow, and all the things, and everything starts Celine Dioning back.
Celine Dion. Yeah, I like that. Celine Dioning back.
Now, meantime,
Jack.
Hook is trying to manipulate Peter's kids to basically turn on him because he's like, yo, when he comes back,
He might be nice. So
he might get his powers back. So what I really need to do to even mess with him further is get his kids to turn on him, and then when he comes back, his kids would just love me more than him. And he knows that Jack and Peter already have beef. So
how does he even know this though? Because I'm like, how does Hook have so much intel on their going ons back in the real world?
Unclear.
Because Shmi has like this file on Peter, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well he went to Maggie's play. He didn't go to his game. They have stuff going on." And I'm like, Shmi, like
they've been trailing him.
Are you going to the world with Tinkerbell? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, unclear how anybody gets there because they obviously got to the real world in order to kidnap the kids, but unclear how they did that without the help of Tinkerbell. So she might be an inside man.
Oh, she might be helping Hook.
She might be.
And that's why she didn't sprinkle the dust when he had to get the kids. Oh,
she's a double
evil.
agent.
She's evil.
She's a double agent.
She's evil.
Oh,
I gotta see a Tinkerbell villain story now.
This is definitely a conspiracy theory podcast now. But the whole thing was like, yo, the longer you stay here, the more you're gonna forget. And the daughter she's out on Hook. Like she's like,
Yeah.
Hook is trash. I want my daddy back, and I want to go back to the real world. But Jack is like, well, let's see what Hook has to say because actually, Dad is trash. And the daughter is basically trying to convince her brother. This is a very bold 6-year-old, by the way. Like, yo, don't forget, da da da. And the whole time she keeps the same energy. And I guess that felt a little bit like a plot hole to me as well, because I'm like, they've been here for a while and Jack is starting to forget. But his sister never forgot anything. So I'm like, she's also in Neverland. She hasn't forgotten a single thing. So I'm like, shouldn't she also have started to forget?
And she's
But it's
also
like,
the younger one.
Just by the sheer will, she just decides like, I am not going to forget. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to work, man.
She's a daddy's girl. What can I tell you?
I guess that's what it was.
You know, because
Daddy's girl trumps the physics of Neverland.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Hook basically says to them, like, at one point, I believe Maggie says, "Oh, I want mommy to read us a bedtime story," and Hook's like, "You do know why your parents read you a bedtime story, right?" She's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "It's not because they want to read to you or spend time with you. It's because mommy and daddy want to spend time with each other, and they're tired of hearing you complain. You know, mommy, I'm hungry. You know, I got to use the bathroom. This, that, and the other. Love me, hold me." Is like they're just gonna read to you so they can shut you up and put you to bed and have time by themselves. And like you said, Jack's kind of like, interesting. That could be what's going on.
That's actually exactly what is going on. Like that is literally why bedtime stories exist. Is like this kid needs to go to sleep now. So I can go be an adult for an hour and a half. Like I just want an hour and a half where I don't have to be someone's parent. Kids really do think like, oh, this is like about me.
Time
it's
to
like,
bond.
It's not about you. It is about you, but it's really about you taking your ass to sleep.
It is, but also reading to your child is a good habit because it helps
100%.
developmentally. And
Everybody
all
wins.
that. Yeah.
You get quality time. It helps them developmentally, and it knocks them out.
Yes. So that's first off.
But if you are reading bedtime stories to your kid and they stay awake, it didn't work. You want them to take their ass to sleep.
Another book,
Yeah,
mommy.
it's like, nah,
Another
dog.
book.
Like, why are you still awake? It's like, can I leave now? Can I? But you can't say that.
Then you gotta read it again.
Right. And this is why she's like, I don't believe you. But Jack's a little older. He's a little bit more,
A little bit wiser.
Yeah, like he's started to see the real world for what it is. He's a little bit of the twinkle's already starting to disappear from his eyes.
He's lost some of his whimsy.
Yeah, nah, his whimsy is on its way out, and this is how Hook is already like, I can get this guy on my side
I can get
because
Jack.
he's already.
Well, Jack kind of switches over is when Hook takes him to his place where he takes all his clocks and he smashes them.
Mhm.
And he basically says, like, Peter had given Jack this little stopwatch before they were kidnapped back in the real world. And Jack still has this stopwatch. And Hook's like, yeah, I come in here, I smash up the clocks. And at first he smashes some things to kind of show Jack what he does. And he's like, oh, like, I see you have a clock there. He's like, how about I put this right here? So I thought at first Jack was going to see what Hook was up to and be like, I'm not smashing my dad's watch. But then Hook is like, yeah, well, you know, how does it feel that he goes to Maggie's things and he promises you, my word is my bond, and then he doesn't show up to your stuff? Like, how does that make you feel?
His word is not his bond.
At all. At all. And so that's when Jack smashes the watch. He starts smashing different mirrors and things in there, and he's having a ball. He's like, this is for not coming to my game, and this is for always answering your phone, and this is for all this stuff. So
That
I'm
phone,
like,
man.
I'm
That
like,
phone-
oh, man.
That phone is the second biggest villain behind Tinker Bell.
I'm like, oh, man, like, he got him turned. And then he says, you know what we're going to do for you, Jack? I'm going to throw a baseball game.
Nah, the baseball game's so lit.
I'm going
man.
to throw a baseball game for you. And he has all the pirates. They got uniforms made mad fast.
They created a baseball diamond.
Yeah.
Baseball doesn't even exist in Neverland.
Yeah.
They learned the rules directly from Jack just so that they can have him play.
I'm sorry. If y'all can hear the tingling of Joel's cat, Bruno just hopped up next to me, next to the mic, and put his face like directly in front of the mic.
He had something to say.
And then he just shook his little collar.
And then he forgot that he can't talk. So, but shout out to Bruno though.
Yeah, so like he has a whole, mind you, this is all on the ship, I suppose. Like they're on a ship, right?
Sure, I guess.
And-
I mean, Captain Hook's ship was fantastic, man. Did
Yeah.
you see his lair?
Oh yeah, it was massive.
His lair was very impressive. It was much better than whatever operation the Lost Boys were
Yeah,
running.
yeah.
They had no gold coins, bro. They
I
had to eat imaginary food.
I mean, he does run a tight ship.
Oh boy.
No,
No, that wasn't great.
all right. So yeah.
Meanwhile,
the
we
ga-
see the food that they got in
oh,
Hook's
yeah,
ship, like
yeah.
real food out
They
here.
have real food. They have real liquor. They're having a ball. And so
real prostitutes.
So, okay, just pause. Just pause. Because I have to say, when Rufio said, oh, like all the people here, all the adults here are pirates, I'm like, wait, but the
Not all of
women-
them.
I said, wait, but there are women, and I instantly, you've seen Les Mis,
I have.
like not the play, but like the actual movie. I've seen both, but no, you saw the play too with me. Okay,
I have.
anyway. I instantly thought about the scene where one of the main characters, ends up she loses her job and she ends up going out and having to do sex work.
This is Catwoman girl. Devil Wears Prada.
You said Catwoman?
Yeah. Wasn't she Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises? In one of the
No.
She was.
She was Catwoman?
Yeah. You don't remember? In the Bane one.
I don't remember that at all.
What's
I know
her name?
I know Devil Wears Prada, but
What's the girl's name?
I'm just seeing Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway, yeah.
I don't remember that.
You gotta watch the Bane.
I just know Devil
You
Wears
gotta watch
Prada.
Dark Knight Rises again, dog. That joint's lit.
Speaking of Devil Wears Prada 2 is coming out soon, and I'm excited about it. But anyway, yes. Her name is facing me in the movie, but
Her
anyway.
name's Anne Hathaway, dog.
No,
That's
I
her
meant
name.
the character's name. Sorry. Anyway, there's a scene where like she goes out there, and I just started thinking about the song because I love this musical. And it was like they're like lovely ladies waiting for a bite, waiting for the customers who only come at night. And I was like, this is literally what I'm thinking of because this is how the women are looking on this ship. And I'm like, did we have to include this?
They're pirates.
We
man.
could have just had the pirates. Why did we have to have the streetwalkers
The funny thing is,
The
like,
makeup looks crazy. Crazy.
it's very like it's very Les Mis.
Yeah.
It's very
That's what I thought of.
what was the other one that we watched? Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was also in France.
As they're sucking the life out of the woman at the tavern in front of everybody. Yes.
But yeah, nah, it's crazy because it's like, oh, well, what else can these pirates do? They're getting drunk, sleeping with women at a brothel, and that's presumably all they're doing because a pirate is supposed to be robbing other ships. But there's nobody else in Neverland other than other pirates. So they're actually not robbing
They all
anyone.
just work together.
They're all just hanging out.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything
Yeah.
else. And then it's just like, if somebody threatens them, then they kill them.
Mhm.
Or they just make them walk the plank. But it's like, but if nobody messes with them, then they're just like hanging out at the brothel all day and drinking ales.
So since you mentioned it, I gotta confess. When I was a kid, I had like a really legit fear of being told to walk a plank.
That's hilarious. You know what that
It
reminds me of?
terrified me. I was like, I wouldn't know. I don't know what I would do.
I don't want to walk the plank. I don't know what I would do. You die. That's what you would do. Like, yeah, you're either getting sliced or you're drowning. So it's like you pick your poison. You either don't walk, you get stabbed.
Like that idea just like terrified me as a kid. Walking
Nah,
a
it's
plank.
so funny because it reminds me of something that my friend Nick, who's actually a Patreon member, shout out to Nick,
Shout
up
out.
in Baltimore. I remember him talking about how like watching TV shows and cartoons and playing video games made him think that like quicksand would be a way bigger thing in real life.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I've never even come close to experiencing this, but it seemed like it was like an ever-present threat.
Yeah.
Based on like what I would see in like TV and movies. It's like,
Jumanji.
oh, like quicksand is gonna be out there.
No, legit.
I feel like
I was
that's what this
terrified.
reminds me of. It's like, and you will never be in a situation where you will need to walk anyone's plank. But like when you're 8 and you're watching this all the time, and you're like, all right, well, I guess this happens pretty often
Yeah.
for adults. It doesn't. It does not.
Okay, what were we talking about? Oh, okay, yeah, just the baseball game. So he wins Jack over because now Jack is able to hit a home run because at his actual game that Peter has missed, the person who was pitching threw a curveball, and of course, he can never hit a curveball.
No, not ever.
And the pirate during this game does throw him one, and he hits it.
It's Smee. Smee is the pitcher.
He hits it, and it's been flying for a while because later on it ends up hitting Peter in the head.
The bonk.
But he hits it
The
over,
infamous bonk.
and when he does it, his team wins. The pirates all come and crowd around him. They lift him up in exuberance, and they're like celebrating him. And Hook says, "That's my boy."
Mm-hmm.
And Jack is smiling and like, yeah, like I'm home. I have a father figure who's here, who's supporting me, who's throwing a game for me.
And then he like has him dress up like Hook, like he gives him
Bro.
the Hook outfit, like he's kind of lit, and I'm like, yo, and so for a while he's actually kind of like, yo, I don't think I want to go back.
I'm gonna stay
like,
here.
I'm good here. Like it's actually kind of lit, and it's really just his sister that's trying to dip, and it's not till his dad shows up. He's flying. He's doing all the Peter Pan things from the cartoon, basically. And then he's like, yo, wait a second. Is that my dad?
My dad's Peter Pan?
She's like, what's going on? But presumably, by the end of the movie, when they go back to London, they're going to forget all of this?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to remember, or it's just going to be like, yo, I had a crazy dream.
Yeah, you're right. Because the longer they stay away, the longer they're going to forget.
Right. Because the whole idea is that Wendy is probably only remembering any of it because
The book?
Peter Pan keeps coming back to see her. But if you recall, Wendy goes to Neverland with her brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really come up in this movie. At first, when the old man that's living in her house, I thought that was one of her
One of the
brothers.
brothers. Yeah, that would have
But
made sense.
That it wasn't. It just ended up being another guy. But like, yeah, it doesn't seem, they don't even come up in the movie. So, I could draw the conclusion that maybe they don't remember any of this. And they're
So
just
why
like, oh,
does
my
she?
sister made up this story. Because he keeps coming back to see her.
Yeah, but think about it. He's been in the real world for how many years now? And she just never forgot? He came back when he was 12, married her
Yeah.
granddaughter, and then stayed until he's now what 30
But I
something.
guess maybe at that point she had
It was
already
cemented in her
she had
memory.
already been writing the stories, and she had
Yeah,
already been
yeah.
like, because he's coming back to see her every year. He doesn't get she doesn't get him adopted until she's already old. So
Mm.
when we meet
No, you're
when we
right.
meet
Yeah.
Wendy, she's already like 30 years older than Peter. So if she got him, let's say she got him adopted or whatever when he was 12 or whatever the case may be, and let's say for argument's sake, now he's 32.
That's still a long time.
Like, yeah, that means he was coming back to see her up until she was like 60. So it's like,
Okay.
yeah, I remember. This most of my life has been
Yeah,
me
okay.
still seeing Peter
This kid
Pan and
once
then
a
him
year.
flying in through my window. The other thing is, when we meet grown Peter at the beginning, he is terrified of open windows and is constantly telling his kids to
Yeah.
move away from them, in addition to having a fear of flying. So it's almost like there is these remnants of his past life are in the recesses of his mind, but he
Mhm.
doesn't actually know why. And it would have been interesting to know, like, what does he think is so scary about open windows? Because he doesn't presumably even remember that he's the one that used to fly through them.
Mm. That's interesting.
Anyway, at the end, of course, we see that he's able to save his kids. They're able to go back to London. Tinkerbell gives him a farewell. She's like, yo, look me up if you ever, want more of this dust. And now he is like very flippant about his job, about his cell phone. It's all just like, oh, so now he's gone through this adventure. He went from completely neglecting his kids for his job. Now he's Mr. Great Dad, and
Mhm.
he doesn't give a damn about his job anymore. He's just like, none of this is important. I'm spending time with my children. And he just like gets rid of all of it. It's just like, yeah, do whatever you want, and hangs up the phone.
And it's like, in case you forgot, this is a $5 billion deal. It's kind of important. Kind
no
of.
longer.
Oh, okay.
But this is the whole thing. It's like, this is what kids want to see. They want to see their dad say, I don't care about that stupid job. I'm here for you, son and daughter. And apparently that's what they think that we want to see, because that's what they always put in kids' movies. And so then at the end of the movie, he basically is talking with his wife about getting older and living their lives. And he says something about like, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. To live would be an awfully big adventure. And early in the film, Hook says
Hook
death
said-
is the only great adventure. So
Yeah.
now it's kind of like, oh, he's the opposite of Hook, who doesn't quite die, but like just mysteriously disappears.
Yeah, when that crocodile
It like fell on his
it
head.
falls over, yeah,
But then
on
they
top
look,
of him.
and then it's just like, oh, he's gone. Oh, ding dong, the witch is dead. Like, it's basically he just like disappears.
Yeah, I don't know. The crocodile ate him.
All right, so what do you think is the theme of this movie?
Well, I mean, I think the overarching theme is trying to make sure that you don't forget your childhood, like making sure you're still keeping in touch with how it relates to your ability to, as far as parents are concerned, connect with and cherish time with your kids and your family as a whole. Because before he goes to Neverland, all he did was yell at his kids, talk on the phone, ignore them, make promises, and then break them consistently. And it wasn't until like he basically has this diss battle with Rufio and he starts to lighten up a little bit and remember what it's like to be a kid and to have fun, that he is now able to, I guess, relate better to his kids and have a deeper understanding of how they work. I think something else that comes out from this movie is remembering what like brought you joy as a kid and bringing that back to your current life as an adult. Because I think it's so easy to get wrapped up in the day to day and just work in general. It can just take over your life. And so it's very important to find things, I think, that bring you joy throughout the week or throughout the day just for your own freaking mental health. And I actually wanted to ask you, like, is there anything that you remember that really made you happy as a kid that you still do now or that you wish you did
Watch 90s movies.
now? Oh, God.
I mean, like, that's a cheeky response, but it actually is kind of true. I mean, I think when I was a kid, I did love watching TV and movies, which I still enjoy now. I used to love playing basketball, which I really don't do as often anymore. And video games, which I don't even
Mm.
own a system anymore. Um, Hanging out with friends looks different, and I think I did a lot of that way more in my 20s, and now it's like, you have to map it out and plan it a lot.
Yeah,
It's just a
yeah.
lot harder. It's not like you're just like seeing your friends at school or asking mom for a sleepover. Um, so yeah, like I was kind of joking when I first said it, but I think on some level, watching old things is actually kind of something that reminds me of my childhood, or whether that's like, you know, the old Batman cartoons that I used to
Mm-hmm.
love, or, you know, um, Saved by the Bell and
Oh, yeah.
all of
Oh,
that type
yeah.
of stuff. The other day, I was this is so random. I don't even know why this was sent to me, but I guess my algorithm knows better than I do. And I saw like 90s talk show clips. It was like Ricky Lake,
Oh, my God.
but
I used to
it was
love
like
her.
full episodes, and I definitely just like started watching one, and I was like, "Oh my god." Like, I remember us watching Ricky Lake after school
Oh,
when we
yeah.
were like 12 or whatever. And so stuff like that, which is like, why does this exist? Why would this be on YouTube for people to watch now? And it's like, it exists for people like me.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I do think that watching stuff that reminds me of like when I first watched it does like kind of take me back to being a kid.
Oh, I love that for you.
What's your answer?
Well, I'm an avid reader, and I've always have been. Like, there's just something about sitting down with a book that just brings a smile to my face and really does relax me at the end of the day. And I'm very much like you as far as watching old TV shows. Like I was watching Daria the other day and just smiling from ear to ear. Like this is just it aged really well, by the way. And it's just a fun watch. Say by the Bell is also another one that I'll randomly throw on. The entire catalog is on like either like Tubi or like one of those channels. You can just
It
watch
used to
the
be
whole
on
thing.
Peacock, and then they
Yeah, not
they
anymore.
got too much stuff now. They had to.
I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi, like
Yeah.
all the seasons. And I just watched the episode where Kelly was dating Jeff, the guy
Oh
from
yeah,
college.
Jeff. Yeah, I remember Jeff.
And then she
Jeff was pretty hot, man.
she goes to the club. He was her boss at the Max.
Yeah,
And then she goes to the
which
club
is
with
like very
yeah.
inappropriate.
She goes to the club with a fake ID with the girls
Uh-huh.
and sees Max with a blonde chick, and she spazzes out. And I'm watching it as an adult, and I'm like, but were y'all actually exclusive? Like,
I mean, he should not have been anything with this girl who's in high school and also your employee.
yes, but what I'm saying is like she was like, you're a cheater, and I was like, was Jeff actually a cheater? I don't know.
He was in her head.
I
It's
don't
like,
know.
Kelly, you don't understand. I'm 25. There was always going to be someone else,
Yeah,
babe.
it's like we just went on a couple dates. Like, I'm not your boyfriend, but yeah, stuff like that. Like I just love watching it back and remembering how I felt the first time I watched it. So I completely agree with your answer. Were there any other themes that you wanted to
I mean, I think you
highlight?
nailed it. Obviously, like the whole inner child thing. I don't know if this is a theme necessarily, but maybe this is a little too deep. But I also wonder about like the forgetfulness and how that can be like a trauma response,
Hmm.
or like, something happens that's so crazy that you just kind of forget it. And I remember like reading like The Body Keeps the Score, and that was something that came up in that book of just like people can sometimes legitimately forget things because their body is just basically like, actually, we're not going to deal with this memory, so you're actually just not going to remember it. And there's a lot of things, whether that's the Lost Boys, whether that's Peter himself, um, or just even like Wendy versus anyone else, how they remember different things from their past and what they choose to remember or not remember, and even just seeing like the difference between Jack and Maggie and how they handled that whole situation. Like, if he didn't learn how to fly, Jack's probably never coming back home. And then he's just gonna be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, all I remember is being on this pirate ship."
Yeah, and Hook is my dad.
Yeah,
So,
like this is just what it is now. So I think that was interesting. The connection there.
well, considering that idea, when you think about Toodles, the elderly man who appeared to be insane,
Mm-hmm.
why is it that he can remember? But because he can remember, he appears to be insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he's like, "Oh, I lost my marbles," and he's on the floor looking for them. And we come to find out later on that like
It was an actual bag of
it was
marbles.
bag of marbles. That was his happy thought, and he needed that to get back. So it's like because his brain couldn't forget it, it like almost drove him mad.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like a common theme in a lot of like sci-fi theory. Or even if you think about like the mystical or the supernatural, right? It's like if there are realms of existence outside of the physical world and some people understand, experience, and believe them,
Mm-hmm.
anyone who doesn't see it is going to be like, "Oh, that person's nuts." But it's like, or they're actually onto something,
Or you just don't know.
and you just don't know. So
Yikes. That's
yeah,
kind of scary.
Who's to say?
Okay. So this movie took a really long time to make because production had like stopped.
Took
and
a really long
started.
time to watch.
In the early 80s, Spielberg was on board with Disney to create this new version of Peter Pan. And they were trying to make it close to the story from like the 1953 movie. And because there was also a play as well as, the Disney like cartoon with songs, they were trying to do like a musical. And initially he wanted to cast Michael Jackson as Peter Pan.
Well, he already had a Neverland, so there you go.
But over time, the vision kind of shifted away from a musical, and then he basically at that point decided he wanted Peter to be an attorney and to do this whole thing. And so he went to Michael and was like, "Yeah, we're kind of gonna go in a different direction. We're not gonna do
Yo,
that."
I will say a musical Peter Pan with Michael Jackson would be fantastic because he did The Wiz,
Yeah.
and that's like a classic. So yeah, that would have been crazy if he did Peter Pan. That would have been nuts.
So then by 1985, the project moved from Disney to Paramount, and then they ended up casting Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook. But then Spielberg ended up dropping out of the project in 87 because his son Max was born and he wanted to be like at home with his son. He was like, "I don't want to be out here working so hard. I need time with my family," which kind of mirrors what's going on in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he pulls out. They get someone else to direct it. Initially, it was Nick Castle, who's best known for playing Michael Myers in Halloween. But Hoffman and later on Robin Williams both really didn't like his directing or get along with him. And so the project ended up moving from Paramount to TriStar. And then they ended up getting rid of Castle and being like, "Yo, can we get Spielberg back?"
Yo, your son's like 4 now. Like, do you still need to be with him all the time? Like, come shoot this movie, dog.
And so they were like, "All right, let's go ahead and get that." So Spielberg ended up coming back, and he said that he's always kind of felt like Peter Pan, and the idea of Peter having his professional pursuit getting in the way of being a dad was very relatable to him. So he ended up doing it. But after the movie came out, Spielberg actually was not a very big fan of it. And as brought up by one of our Patreon members, Thwip Stickers, Spielberg said in a 2013 interview, "I want to see Hook again because I so don't like that movie. And I'm hoping someday I'll see it again and perhaps like some of it."
Well then.
That's what he said. This was his first Razzie nomination.
Oh, see, he's not the only person that didn't like it.
Movie critics hated it. And it currently has a 37 score by critics on Rotten Tomato.
There you go. So I guess he's not giving it a lot of rewinds.
Two things I wanted to point out quickly. Well, maybe three. One is towards the end of the movie, you see that Peter ends up giving his sword to another Lost Boy to basically become the new head.
Hold on. What was this boy's name? Was his name Fat?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't write his name down. Why do you say that?
Because he was fat. And I was like,
What?
are they calling him that? Like, I couldn't remember. I couldn't really tell because
That
I didn't
can't
have the
be.
captions on, but I'm like, yo, there's no way they're just calling this kid this. But it's also like he's an overweight boy. And at one point when they're having the big battle, he literally rolls himself up into a ball and uses himself as a weapon to knock over the pirates.
I do
I'm
remember
like, come
that.
on, dog.
I
Like,
do remember
this
that.
is ridiculous. Like, y'all are just doing this because the kid is chubby. He's turning himself into a cannonball.
His name is Thud Butt.
Oh, okay. Well, that's better.
I don't. Yikes. Oh, I don't like that.
Thud butt.
That's what it said.
Jeez. Well, all right. I guess that's better than fat. I don't know if it is.
I didn't realize that was his name. That's kind of gross.
All right. Well.
But anyway, in that scene where he's passing the sword,
Thud butt. Thud butt. That's what they're gonna be singing out now.
Bangarang.
Yeah, there's no more Rufio, and there's no more Peter Pan, so they're gonna be yelling out "thud butt." It's gonna be the new chant.
I had something nice to say, Joel.
Oh, my
You're
bad,
ruining it.
my bad.
You're ruining it. So that scene where he takes the sword and passes it to one of the Lost Boys,
Who did he pass it to?
none of the kids actually knew who he was going to give it to. It wasn't in the script.
Oh,
and so
really?
when he's going up and down and they're smiling, they don't know who's gonna get it.
Wow.
And then he ends up giving it to Thudbutt.
90s, man.
And they did that
The 90s.
because Spielberg wanted to get an unpracticed reaction from the kids.
That's very, very smart direction.
So they did that. I hate you so much.
You hate me?
Yes.
I didn't name him that.
It was a touching moment, and now
It
I'm
is
just
touching.
Now
It's
I'm just
still
laughing.
a touching moment.
Now
He was. I mean, it was obvious to the viewing audience because he's the only person that had like any sort of heart-to-heart conversation with Peter. The other boys were just around, but like him and this Thudbutt character actually like had conversations where they talked about their thoughts and their feelings and their hopes.
He also gave him the marbles for Toodles.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so obviously this is gonna be the guy.
As brought up by another Patreon member, Jeremy, there's the scene where when Rufio first kind of has this tete-a-tete, as you say,
Tete-a-tete?
yes, with Peter Pan, he says, "You're dead, jolly man," and he has like the sword like mad close to Peter's face.
Mm-hmm.
They filmed that in reverse to ensure that Robin Williams wasn't harmed. And so he starts like with the sword against Robin Williams' face and he moves backwards. And so Basco had to memorize the line and say it backwards so that it would end up playing the right way. So he memorized it backwards. And so
Wow.
when you watch the movie, I was like, you could see it's like
A little off.
yeah, because I'm like, oh, he actually does it. That's kind of weird, but that's how they did that. And then lastly, I don't know if you caught this cameo, but Glenn Close was one of the pirates on the ship. It's the scene where Hook first comes out and he's like, who bet against me? Like, who said that I couldn't beat Peter Pan? And then he points to one of the pirates. That is Glenn Close wearing
No, I did
pirate.
not. I did not recognize her
wearing
at all.
pirate makeup. Yeah, there's a lot of other things, but I'm not going to go through them because I'll be here all day. But yeah, there's a lot of facts about this film.
And Steven Spielberg hates all of them. All right. And now,
It's time for the Rewind Ratings.
okay, I'll go first this time. So like I said, I don't remember actually having seen this before. Now that I have seen it, I would say that it's kind of exactly what I expected it to be. Like, I knew that Robin Williams played Peter Pan. I knew that Robin Williams was grown. because he was Robin Williams. So I'm like, okay, like he's gonna go back to Neverland and he's going to fight Captain Hook, which is essentially what happens. There's some fun stuff. There's some playing around. There's some light threats of violence, and actually a kid gets killed. So I guess there's more than just light threats of violence. I mean, I would say generally, if I'm thinking about how to give this a rewind rating, I mean, the movie is definitely too long. It probably could have cut down on 20 to 30 minutes and still gotten the same thing out of it. I said it before, I'll say it again. Captain Hook is my favorite part of this movie. So, like, although this is a Robin Williams vehicle and obviously Peter Pan is the main character, I felt that it was appropriate to call it Hook because I actually found myself more invested in his scenes than in Peter's scenes. And I thought Bob Hoskins, R.I.P. to the GOAT, he was great as Mr. Smee, who is also a very fun character. I thought the way that he played him was like similar to the cartoon version, but different, and he kind of made it his own, which I thought was very cool. And so for me, that is the meat of the replay value, is seeing some of the pirate stuff, seeing Dustin Hoffman playing Hook, and Hoskins is Smee and the baseball game, and like all that stuff was like really fun to watch. So I'm going to kind of cut the difference down the middle and give this 2.5 rewinds.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be higher than that. Interesting. I have seen this film a few times growing up. I feel like when I was hanging out with childhood friend Melissa at her house, the movie was always on. I feel like. I'm guessing I was probably watching with Melissa, and then you and Andrew were probably playing video games,
Yeah,
playing like Aladdin or The Lion
we
King,
were
or
definitely
Sonic.
Yeah,
or something.
we're probably playing Sonic on his Sega Genesis.
Mhm.
That's probably right.
And which is funny because I feel like this might be like a quote unquote boys movie because like it's like Peter Pan and the Lost Boys.
There are no girls
But-
in it except for the little daughter.
But I've definitely seen it a few times as a kid. Watching it back, I had more of an understanding about how Granny Wendy fit into this whole thing. 'Cause as a kid, I was just like, I don't even understand who this lady is. Like, I didn't. Like, I just didn't
No,
understand.
that makes sense.
I was like, why is this old woman like?
It's
that-
a very
that's not
long
Wendy.
movie. I think it would be very difficult to follow if you were a child.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on with that.
It's too much. Simplify.
yeah.
Simplify.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, too long. Definitely too long. I think maybe they needed to kidnap the kids like faster, and then just like cut down on a lot of these fight scenes because it was just too much happening. We saw Thudbutt turning himself into a cannonball like at least 3 times. Like, just the one time would be enough. Seriously.
Oh man.
That was a lot.
Oh,
I actually
man.
wish there was more like a Rufio and all that. Like I enjoyed like having him skate around and do his thing, and like even like the whole them going back and forth with the jokes. I thought that was entertaining. I'm sure kids would love that because they're just saying ridiculous things like "you fart factory."
In your face, camel cake!
In your rear, cow derriere.
Lion, crying, spine, prine, ultra pig!
You lewd, crude, rude, bag of pre-chewed food dude.
Like that's just
Nah, yeah,
something that kids
that was pretty good. That was
kids would enjoy that. I did like all the scenes with Hook and with Jack, how he was very easily turned him against his father because his father was kind of trash, if we're being honest. But this is very long. I did watch it all the way through, and I was definitely picking up my phone quite a bit, and then having to be like,
Then
Andrene,
you gotta rewind because then it's like, yo, I missed something.
yeah, and then it's like also it's like, Andrene, you have to watch for the pod. Like you can't you can't just not know what's going on. You have to pay attention.
That's never a good sign.
So yeah. Surprisingly, our score is the same. I don't know why I thought you would like it more, but for me it is what it is. I think it has good messaging, but there are much better Disney films and much better Robin Williams films. So I'm giving it also
Well,
a 2.5.
2.5. 2.5 for both of us.
Yeah.
And I don't even think this is a Disney film because it's
No,
Trump.
it got moved, but I'm saying like it was Disney originally, but
Well, the message for kids is to throw your dad's cell phone out the window.
yeah.
When he's chatting about mergers and acquisitions.
And then bonk him in the head with the baseball.
Boy, you got a bonk. The bonk is actually the key. Let us know your rewind rating for Hook. You can send us an email if you prefer that method at rewindrewatch1990s at gmail.com. You can also send us a DM or leave a message in the comments on any of the social media sites. We also have every episode available on YouTube. And you can also become a Patreon member and talk to us directly and send us your thoughts about this and any other previous films. It's only $5 a month on Patreon. There is a link in our bio.
All right.
Okay.
It's time for our final words.
You gonna follow this jeweler over the Capitano?
My stupid, sorry, parasitic sacks of entrails.
All right, that's pretty good.
All right, y'all. See you next week.
Adios.